ओम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So I'm very happy to come here to this Panatur Bhakti Center. Today we are going to have a Bhagavad Gita class, but it's a little special because this topic is something that people were asking a lot of questions about, and we had many different occasions we had kind of given answers to these questions that were asked. All of you can come a little forward. It will be giving a good space for the people those who come later. Okay. So today's session is a session that is come out of a lot of question and answers, a lot of inquiries, and we'll be very happy to know that this session is first being delivered here only. So this is the opening of this particular session. So we'll start our presentation by offering our gratitude and respects to His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of International Society for Krishna Consciousness, by whose mercy we are able to understand and practice this Krishna consciousness in a nice way. Right? So the topic is my hard-earned results. Is this a source of misery or happiness? No. So what do you think about the topic? Your hard-earned money, no? So that gives you happiness or misery? Everybody are working hard for that. Everybody are looking for that, right? So it's something very important in their life, and that's how we put in all our energy right from our childhood, in going attending the school and things like that. So if you ask whether the child like that subject, very rarely somebody gets to study a subject which is of very close to their heart. And then again they come to the professional courses, so they actually have to take up something which is very relevant in the market, which is then after studying that, we should be marketable, right? So we should sell ourselves somewhere, so that should be the education should be of that nature. So then after that, we put in a lot of struggle to work hard, and a lot of endeavor that goes in. So all that we are doing to get some results, so some results that comes out of it, and that result obviously we imagine or we aspire that something happy should come out. That's why we are actually struggling hard, working hard, and things like that. So, but then in reality, many a times, this result that we have worked for all our life, sometimes we end up in be misery or distress. So why is it so? So if that is so, why the whole world is actually working hard towards that. So this is something that we are going to see. So today's discussion is going to be like this: what is action? So in the karma session, you might have learned what is action in detail. So now in today's session, it's going to be the focus is on the fruits of action, the results of our action. When we work, what the result comes out. So how should we deal about that, and know what is the appropriate and inappropriate ways of dealing with that? So that's what is the focus. So we are going to see what is the fruits of action, and okay. So is enjoying what? Sorry, what is wrong if I enjoy my hard-earned fruits, and then benefits of giving up attachment for the fruits, and how should I deal with these results in conclusion? So this is going to be the agenda. So let's see what is action. Now, those of you who attended karma session, so it is quite easy. What is action? According to Bhagavad Gita, it's like, normally what's action means like, what is that? In physics, like we have some definitions, which causes something to move from point A to point B, some action done and stuff like that. So we are not asking that action. According to Bhagavad Gita, what is action? Duties, okay. Anything else? Karma. Karma means what? It's quite often used word, right? So what's the meaning of karma?
The present activities and the previous activities.
Okay. What all things this word is used for? One is action. Okay. So then what is it? Good deeds. Good deeds, like in general, all actions are also called as karma. Some work is done. So work means karma. And for good activities also specifically they call it as karma. So if you call it as vikarma, then it becomes bad activity, right? So all activities are called as karma, and in specific, good activities are called as karma, and the results of the activities are also called as karma. So it's a one word which is used for so many things. So sometimes if you don't know the context, the scriptures may be little confusing. Like how it's a wrong usage. Like people use the word repair. So what happened to your mobile repair ho gaya? And what have you done? No, repair ke liye diya hai. I've given it for repair. And, so now after that, when the mobile gets okay, then people say like what happened now? Repair ho gaya abhi. No? So now everything we use the word repair. So that's not a proper usage. But then in the grammar, there are certain words which are used in multiple different contexts. This word karma is also used in multiple different contexts. So now action is some work done. We are doing certain work, and what is the broad classification of action? So two major broad classification of action are there. Now anybody can tell what are the two major classifications? Good and bad. Okay. Anything else? How do you define good and bad? That's a good question. How do you? It's a right answer, but how do you define good and bad? I like it is good, so it should be good, right? Based on scripture. No, that's the point. So if we have to decide something as good or bad, we need to have a standard against which we can check, right? If somebody gives us a goal and then say like it's a proper goal, you give me money in exchange, what will we say? Like, first of all, let's check. Check with a jeweler, and how does he check? He has some certain standards against which he checks. And then it can be termed as good or bad. So there must be a standard to check, whether something is good or bad. That's how good and bad is checked. And in general, like how do we check, any action is good or bad based on scriptures? Why that is a standard? Because everything is created by the Lord and everything is designed by the Lord, and He has given certain principles. This is how this world should conduct itself, right? So if we go against it, then it's bad. If we are in line with that, then we are good, right? So that's the definition of good and bad. So in this connection, there is this wonderful shloka is there. I'll chant. Kindly repeat after me. यज्ञातात् कर्मणो अन्यत्र लोकोऽयं कर्मबन्धनः तदर्थं कर्म कौन्तेय मुक्तसंगः समाचर. So now yajna is also another word which is having multiple meanings. Yajna means what? What is the meaning that you can think of? Havan. Yajna means havan. So, but in the Vedic terms, yajna means the Supreme Lord also can be called as yajna. He has, the Lord himself has the name yajna. And then Yajna means an activity which is meant to please the Supreme Lord. That is also yajna. So now, for example, you are chanting the names of the Lord, right? So that's called yajna. No. So now, what are we doing here? We are actually performing yajna because we are discussing the subject matter in relation to Krishna, and we don't have any other interest. No, I am here just to speak whatever Krishna has spoken, and you're here to speak. You're here to hear about what Krishna has given, the message of Krishna. So if I start speaking something else, then you'll say like, Prabhuji, like, no, we came here for hearing about Bhagavad Gita, not your Gita. No, so like, please don't tell anything and everything. Please speak from Bhagavad Gita, right? So that's the purpose for which we have come. So this is also an yajna. This is also an act which is meant to please the Supreme Lord. So yajnatat karmano, our activities should be meant for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. Anyatra, if we do something else apart from that, then what happens? Lokoyam karma bandhana. So we become bound by the karmic reactions, right? So now, who are all the free citizens and who are all the citizens who are put into the jail? Now, how does this decision goes on? Yeah, those who are law-abiding citizens, they are free citizens, and those who go against the law, so then they are put into this one. They have bandhana, they have lock-up bandhana, something, so like that. So karma bandhana here, right? So if we follow the rules and regulations laid down by the Supreme Lord, so which is very mercifully the Lord gives us the scriptures. So if we follow that, so then now we are free from this one. Tadartam karma kaunteya. Tadartam means for his pleasure. Now if somebody is doing karma, mukta sangha samachara. No, he is free. No, he is a free being, right? And if he is going against the will of the Lord or against the scriptures, so then he is anyatra lokoyam karma bandhana. No, he becomes bound by the karmic reactions, right? So now our action should be according to the scriptures, else it will cause bondage. That will cause the bondage. So this is one of the definitions that we are bringing about. So many different ways we can actually define. So one of the ways is that we are defining that action should be performed according to the scriptures, like how the scriptures are directing. So like that we should do our action. If we do it in another way, so then it will cause bondage. So what are the two different classifications we are seeing? One is legal action, which is going to award us freedom, and another is illegal action, which is going to award us bondage, right? So these are two things that are there. So now action, when we perform an action, automatically there is going to be some result that's going to be there. So we call it as fruit, fruit of our work means like what's the result that comes out of it. That's called the fruit. So what's the fruit of action? Now there is always a result. Whether you do good activity, there is a result. You do bad activity, there is a result. You do no activity, still there is a result. For everything there is a result. So if you perform materially good action, so you get good results. That's called karma, or good karma, right? So there are references in Bhagavad Gita. I didn't put all of them. So once I made this whole concept, I saw like the number of slides were too huge. So I thought like few shlokas will just give reference. So we have material good actions produce good results, and then if you do no action, if you do not perform your duty, then also it is a problem, right? So if if you go to your work and you've got an assigned work to be done, and then you don't do anything, I don't want to harm anybody, I don't want, I'll just be there, right? So and then they say the boss is scolding on us. So what did I do? Why are you scolding? That's the whole problem. What did you do? you have not done anything. So you're supposed to do something, right? So even not performing, it's not that we are by random choice. No, we are here. All of us, we are here for a particular purpose. We have to understand what is the purpose for which we are here, and we have to act according to the purpose. That's when we will be getting good results. Otherwise it will be bad results. So bad action causes bad results. That's vikarma, and no action also causes bad results. That's also a kind of vikarma. So then, whom does these fruits belong to? Oh, I'm sorry, I put it's quite evident here. I should not ask this question. Now, this is something I can ask. Now, here again, it's an urgency. I prepared this PPT. Whom does the building belong to? If you hire a contractor, and if you supply money and materials, and then labor and hard work, is put by the laborers, hard work is put by the laborers. So finally, whom does the house belongs to? Huh? And like, somebody is working hard. The mistri is working hard, the laborers are working hard. So like we don't, in fact, like we would have not even lifted one brick also over there. How does the house belongs to us? What is the logic behind it? Huh? We are paying that amount. So we are the owners because we are supplying all those things. We are the owners. So in the same way, Lord gives the Panchabhutas, Lord gives Matta Smrita Jnanam Apohanamcha, Lord gives the knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness, and Lord gives the energy, Balam, Balavatam, Krishna mentions the energy of the energetic is provided by the Lord. Lord is the source of all those things. And Lord gives all the environment, right? So all the prakriti, all the natural resources, everything is given by the Lord. And then with a lot of hard work, we create something out of it. Whom does it belong to? Lord. So all the work that I do, whom does it belong to? Result belongs to the Lord, right? So it is mentioned that Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. So Krishna mentions that Bhokta, I am the Bhokta. Bhokta means what? Enjoyer. Bhok karne wala. So Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam. So whatever yajnas are happening, whatever tapasyas are happening, whatever hard work is happening, Krishna is telling all that result belongs to me. I am the only enjoyer, who is supposed to enjoy all these things. So this, because he is the source of everything, he naturally becomes the enjoyer of everything. Just like as good as we supply the money, materials, and things like that to build a house. So the house belongs to us. In the same way, Krishna provides all the Panchabhutas and all the energy and everything, knowledge, intelligence, and everything is provided by him. So anything and everything that we do, the result of our actions belongs to the Supreme Lord, right? So now, a very, very famous shloka, Karmanyevadikaraste Ma phaleshu kadachana Ma karma phala heturvur Ma te sangostva karmani. Okay, so the Lord is telling you have the right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled for the fruits of action. Just like if you have an employment, so then you have a project to complete, and then the customer gives crores of rupees to the company, right? So the company says you have the right to perform your work, but whatever customer gives, that's not yours. I will give you salary later on. So but whatever customer gives, that belongs to the company, right? So like this is it's a common sense. Like Bhagavad Gita is actually a common sense. If we do that in our company, that's right. But if Lord asks that, some people feel that it is wrong. So actually, it is a common sense that you have the right to perform your prescribed duty because I have created you. I have supplied you all the necessities and things like that. So now you have to perform certain work, and whatever result comes out of it, it belongs to the Lord, right? So that's a very important thing. And then never consider yourself the cause of the results of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duty, right? So we should perform our duty, and results will definitely come, and we should not be attached to the results that is produced out of our duty, right? So this is, and then this is another thing. It goes another level up. Kindly chant after me. Prakrute kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvashah ahankara vimudatma kartaham iti manyate. It's a very heavy shloka actually. So the Lord says that Prakriti Kriyamanani, so all the work done is done by the Prakriti, material nature. Gunai Karmani Sarvasaha, through the three modes of nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance. Right? So three modes of nature you might have studied, and even in this shloka is quoted in that session as well. So Ahankara Vimudatma, like who is the person he's talking about? Krishna is talking about one who is having a lot of ahankar, and one who is vimuda, means one who is completely blinded by ignorance, right? So only that person thinks karta aham iti manyate, right? So he वो मानता है कि karta aham, मैं like I'm doing things, right? So now, like we are doing a lot of activities. Now, if I lift this cell phone and I think that I lifted my cell phone, so then Krishna says like I am ahankara vimudatma. So like how does it fit? You might have like studied this in the three modes of nature, this one also session also. Anybody would like to answer? How does this principle work? How does it work?
Desire.
Yeah, I desire to lift this mobile phone, and then the Lord sanctions it, and then the material nature it executes it, right? So this is the way in which the whole world is functioning, right? So now, if I desire to lift this mobile phone, and I don't have sufficient karma to lift this, then Lord doesn't provide the sanction. So then, if Lord doesn't provide the sanction, the material nature will not execute, and we call that phenomena as paralysis, right? So we have a medical term for that. So right, so in this way we see that like the prakriti is doing everything, and I am also a doer. It's not that I don't have any role to do in this whole action. So in the Bhagavad Gita later in the 18th chapter it mentions that adhishtanam tata karta karanam cha pratakvidam vividam sapatak cheshta daivam chevayatra panchamam. So there are 5 factors to action, and one of the factors is me, no karta, no, I am the desirer, to do that particular action. And then the ultimate functioning personality is the Lord, the Daivam. No, he functions by the way of sanctioning, right? And then the material nature functions by the way of delivering that action, right? So we see this thing happening in many places, right? So now what is that? Somebody gives a purchase order, no? A company. Sorry, you have to give a purchase order, and then the company actually gives you a proposal, right? So then after company gives a proposal, a vendor gives a proposal. So then your boss has to approve that proposal. So once the boss approves the proposal, then the accountant will disperse the money, right? So this thing is there, even in our own setup also this thing is there. It's not something very great, So like here in this particular shloka, the focus light is put on the accountant, right? So accountant is the one who is dispersing the money, right? So like that. So this is like Prakriti is the accountant, who is actually dispersing the action, and living entity is the one who's desiring, and the Lord is the one who's sanctioning, right? So in this way, the Lord is telling that don't think everything that you are moving, it's done. The movement is done by you. No, the movement is done by the material nature, and the material nature is working under my direction. The Lord is telling that, right? So in this way, we see that even an action is performed. Why we have put this thing? Because our whole point is about fruits of action. So now, first of all, everything is supplied by the Lord, and after everything being supplied, so I'm thinking that I did the hard work, but actually the Lord is telling, no, material nature did the hard work. You only did the desire. No, more than that, you have not done anything. So you did the desire, and then I employed the material nature to do the hard work, and you think you have done the hard work. So even that is not yours. So obviously the fruits doesn't belong to you, right? Like that. So now, okay, still if we have, okay, I have worked hard for these results. So what is wrong if I enjoy my hard-earned fruits? Is there anything wrong? Is there any reaction to it? No, what's wrong about it? So here a nice shloka is there. There are many shlokas are there. So we will, some of it I'll ask you to repeat, and some of it we'll just go by the translation. So Arjuna is mentioning here, I can find no means to drive away this grief which is drying up my senses. I will not be able to dispel it, even if I win a prosperous, unrivaled kingdom on earth with sovereignty like the demigods in heaven. So now, how does it relate to the fruits of action? So Arjuna is telling that even if I get the best of the results of my work, I've done some work, and even if I get the best of the results, so Arjuna is telling that I will not get the happiness which I'm desiring for. No, it's not going to make me happy. So this is one of the important thing. The fruits, like what is the expectation? Why are we working hard for the results that we are looking for? So our aspiration is that this will make me happy. That's the driving force of everything in this world. So I will work hard, earn money. So finally, what I want to become, I'll become happy. I want to take care of my family, and then Like, why should I do all those things? Like, result is like, I want to become happy. So everything I do for the ultimate goal of being happy, right? So it's not something wrong. No, the scriptures also say, the Vedanta Sutra says, Anandamaya Abhyasa. Every living entity has a very, very internal desire to become happy. No, that's a very, very intrinsic, inseparable quality of a living entity. All of us desire to become happy, right? So, and here Arjuna is telling, this fruits of action is not going to make me happy, right? So this, the fruits of action is, it's generally not going to make us happy, no, but it is a lot advertised about like that, but it's not going to make anybody happy, right? And then this you can repeat. Nacha shreyo na pashyami. Nacha shreyo na pashyami. Hatva swajanamahave. Hatva swajanamahave. Nakangshe vijayam Krishna. Nakangshe vijayam Krishna. Nacha rajyam sukhani cha. Nacha rajyam sukhani cha. So here again another angle. So the corollary of the previous shloka. So previous shloka, he told that, so I'm not going to get the happiness which I'm looking for. And in this shloka, he's telling that it's going to be miserable, right? I do not see any good coming, from this killing of my own kinsman in this battle, nor can I, my dear Krishna, desire any subsequent victory, kingdom, or happiness. Right? It's the attachment to the result is going to cause misery, right? So this is another angle that Bhagavad Gita is presenting, right? And then we'll see, this is also a very, very important shloka. Devotees can try to memorize this as well. So kindly repeat after me. Bhogaishvarya prasattanam kaya pahata chetasam vyavasayatmika buddhihi samadho na vidiyate. So Bhogaishvarya prasattanam. Ashakti means like attachment. Prasakta means like very deep attachment towards bhoga, no sense gratification, enjoying bhognically. And taya apahata chetasam, it can actually just steal away our consciousness, right? Taya apahata chetasam vyavasayatmika buddhi, one pointed focus, samadho na vidiyate. We cannot get one pointed focus. We cannot get determination, the focus, and things like that if we are too much attached to the results of our action, right? So this is another problem, that's there, in being attached to the results of our action. And then durena hi avaram karma buddhi yoga dhananjaya buddha sharanam anvicha kripana phalahetava. So here Krishna is telling kripana. Kripana means what? Miser, conjuice, So kripana phalahetava. So one who works and then be attached to the results of his work, Krishna defines him as kripana, miser, So O Dhananjaya, keep all abominable activities far distant by devotional service, and in that consciousness surrender unto the Lord. Those who want to enjoy the fruits of their work are misers, right? So why do Krishna call such a person as miser? So what's the characteristics of a miser? When do you call a person a miser? Huh? Doesn't spend. Does he spend for himself? He doesn't even spend for himself, right? So, and then anything else about a miser? Basically, no utility, right? So he doesn't utilize the things that he has, right? So why Krishna mentions this person as a miser? The utility of the gifts of the Lord, the results that we get or anything else that we possess, it's all gifts of the Lord, and it should be used in a rightful way, right? So in the beginning, we saw that all the things that exist belongs to the Lord, and if everything belongs to the Lord, it should be rightfully used in His service, right? So in the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna actually gives a nice progression, not progression, actually he gives a regression. So the best of the things that you can possibly do is with your body, mind, and senses, you be fully absorbed in the service of the Lord. If you cannot do that, so then Krishna gives the next, this one. You can try to practice. If you cannot spontaneously do this thing, you can try to practice being engaged in my service. If you cannot do that, so then you can do some work and then give the results of the work to me. And then like this, he actually gives a lot of this ones. And finally, he says, the rock bottom thing. Anybody can imagine what is the rock bottom thing that Krishna may be telling. Beyond this, if you do, you're a failure. So he says something like, you work, and you get the results. But even if you don't give it to me, I'm the rightful owner of this results. Even if you don't give it to me, give it to at least somebody. No, don't keep everything for yourself. No, do at least something to somebody. So then, no, Krishna says, okay, fine, you are in an acceptable boundary. But if we keep everything that we have with ourselves, no, then it's not a very good thing. So many philosophers have come up with this one thought that all that we possess, when we go, we cannot even take even one penny with us, right? So everything that we have to leave it behind in this world. So, and everything is given to us for a particular purpose, and it should be used in a proper way, right? So in this way, Krishna defines a person who wants to enjoy the fruits for himself and not share it with others, and not utilize this human form of life for rightful advancement in the spiritual consciousness. So such a person, Krishna actually mentions as miser, right? So, like, yeah, so one who has attachment to the results of an action, so he's called a miser. And then, uh, so here another this one that is there. So this is kind of an extreme emotion. Out of extreme emotion, Arjuna is actually mentioning, like, how this attachment to the fruits of action has driven people to do some extreme activities. Like, alas, how strange it is that we are preparing to commit greatly sinful acts, driven by desire to enjoy royal happiness. We are intent on killing our own kinsmen. So he is mentioning that. So this attachment to the fruits of action can drive us to do any extreme activities. Sometimes people ask that people, this something that is quite spoken about is about the rape cases and stuff like that. So then, when such an incident happens, immediately there is so much of noise that is created. Oh, the punishment has to be made so strong that these people should be like fearing to commit such an activity, right? So, but in the past, there are many punishments have been given. So many strict actions have been taken upon that. Even then, why it is not happening? Why people still do wrong things, right? So why people don't get the fear? There is something more to it, right? It's not so simple that you just create a punishment and it's quite fearsome, and people will fear out of it and then they will not do. It's not like that. So Bhagavad Gita says, "Dhyayato vishayan pumsa sangateshu bhajayate, sangat sanjayate kamat, kamat krodha vijayate, no krodha krodhat bhavati sammoha, sammohat smriti vibrama, smriti vamsad buddhi nashat pranashyati." So once we contemplate our senses, if we use our senses and contemplate on the sense objects, so then what happens? That becomes a strong desire. Once the strong desire actually comes up, then slowly we'll start losing our intelligence. Our intelligence will say, it's not that everybody is bad in the beginning. Our intelligence will say, this is bad. If I do this, no, I'm going to be jailed. I'm going to be punished. Even I'll be killed also, right? So all those fear is there. But then when there is constant contemplation on the sense objects, then the desire becomes strong, then the intelligence becomes weak. Then a person is ready to do any activity, right? So you increase any amount of punishment, it's not going to happen. That is why in the Vedic civilization, the right kind of a culture was given. So what is the education means? What, like in the Vedic civilization, what is the meaning of education? Anybody can say what is the primary parameter of education? Huh? Values, moral education, anything else?
Like the soul.
Sense control. The education of a person who is a learned person. How can we estimate this person as a learned person? No, because he's quoting a lot of shlokas, so he's a learned person. Because he's speaking some high fund of philosophy, he's a learned person. No, education or a learned person is determined based on, like, matravat paradareshu, lostravat paradraveshu, atmavat sarvabhuteshu, your pashyati sa pandita. So pandita or a learned person is determined by, like, matravat paradareshu, like to see every woman as mother. No, that's why, like, we have in ISKCON the culture of calling every woman as Mataji, right? So, and then lostravat paradraveshu, seeing another's property as a garbage, right? And then paradraveshu lostravat, and then atmavat sarvabhuteshu, feeling the pain of others, right? So empathy, right? So these all things put together is called as a pandita. A person is called as a pandita if he has these things.
Hare Krishna. We have one Innova car 7312. If it belongs to anyone, can you help us? We need to remove outside. No.
Okay. So now, yeah, what were we discussing? Yeah, Pandita, learned person means he's a person of sense control, right? So that's called learned person. So now we see this, here we see that extreme activities can happen just by being attached to the results of one's action. So that can drive a person crazy. No, a person can go to any extent to anything, right? So this is also one of the problem of being attached to the fruits of action. So we may be thinking, I'm a good person. I will never do such a wrong activity. It's just the lack of exposure. That's it. No, it's the Krishna mentions this particular thing. Karanam guna sangosya sadasat yoni janmashu. I am a good person now. I have good thoughts now because because of grace of the Lord somehow my association has been good, right? So that's why I am a good person. If I am put in the association of bad people for a prolonged period of time, karanam guna sangosya, the way we associate with the modes of nature, we will develop the qualities and we will start doing bad activities. It's not that I am all good. It's because of my association is good, I am good. No, if my association goes bad, no, I am a bad person, right? So that is why in the Vedic culture, the association was given a lot of importance. Like what kind of a company you have, that's the kind of a person you are, right? So that's why it is called as in the satsanga. No, why it is called satsanga? Sat means good, right? So good sangha. So why people used to promote satsanga? Because like we want to be good. No, if you want to be good, I don't have the independence to be good. If my association, if my sangha is good, then I'm good. So I have to take a good sangha, right? So that's how this thing is put. And then okay, yukta karma phalatya yukta karma phalam tyaktva shantim apnoti naishtikim ayuktah karma karena phala sakto nibadyate. The studied the steadily devoted soul attains unadulterated peace because he offers the results of all activities to me. Whereas a person who is not in union with the divine, who is greedy for the fruits of his labor, becomes entangled. Right. So now we see that this bondage aspect in the beginning also we saw yajnata karmano in that shloka. So if we don't, if we keep the fruits, if we are attached to the fruits of our action, if we are attached to the results of our actions, so then what happens is we become badhyate, like nibadyate. So we become bound, by the results of our action. So now, in summary, attachment to the fruits of one's action causes it cannot give happiness that we are looking for. It gives us misery and reduces one's determination, weakens one's determination and focus, and then it makes us a miser, and then drives us to perform any extreme actions, and it also binds to the karmic reactions, right? So these are all the results of the fruits of attachment to the fruits of action. In fact, so when we were trying to, like many different occasions, these questions were put. So that's how we compiled. And then one interesting activity, one interesting stats that we got in the Bhagavad Gita is right from the second chapter, Krishna specifically mentions that attachment to the fruits, is all these things. If you would have noticed, something is from second chapter, something is from fourth, something is from fifth. So only till sixth chapter I analyzed now, but in the past, like I've studied multiple times Bhagavad Gita, and I've traced it out that this particular thing Krishna mentions in every single chapter of Bhagavad Gita, right from second chapter to 18th chapter. Why he did not tell in the first chapter? Because he did not get the opportunity to speak only. He started speaking in the second chapter. But then the seed of it is there in the first chapter. So this is also very important stats. You should know that now. So Krishna didn't speak in the first chapter a lot. He spoke a little bit. Not a very active role. So quite a passive role, that he played in the first chapter. So, but then Arjuna is telling that attachment to the fruits. Even if I want to have a bigger kingdom, it's going to be miserable. No, leave me, Krishna. I don't want any results. No, I'm just going to take sannyas. Arjuna is telling that. So then Krishna convinces him, saying that if you do, you're a Kshatriya, you're supposed to fight. If you fight, it's okay. If you don't fight, just don't think that giving up everything, you will become a sadhu. You will get vikarma. You will get sin if you run away from the battlefield, right? So that's what Krishna actually mentions. So now, okay, now we'll see the benefits of giving up the desire for the fruits, right? So this is also an important thing. One who performs his duty without attachment, surrendering the results unto the Supreme Lord, is unaffected by sinful action, as a lotus leaf is untouched by water. Right? So we may be doing so many different activities, which is dharmic activities, when it is spoken about action. So in the first itself, we clarified action that is according to the scriptures is called dharmic, and that is the action that is spoken about here. So if I perform action and then that action, the result of that action will not touch me. No, if I offer the result of the actions to the Supreme Lord, right? So that's like Krishna gives this example of lotus leaf and the water. So have you ever got the opportunity to see this phenomena? Water droplets falling on the lotus leaf, right? So it just glides down. So it doesn't get attached to, right? So as if it is put on a oily surface, the water doesn't get attached to. So in the same way, if you have to, the corollary of that is, if you want to get affected by the karmic reactions, you have to do one thing. What is that you have to do? You have to be attached to the fruits of your action. So it's like the live wire. The wire is passing by, and then what you have to do to get the shock? You have to just catch the wire. In the same way, you just have to have the attachment to the fruits of your actions. You will get the karmic reaction, right? So I have done this. I've done with a lot of hard work, and this is the result, and this result belongs to me. That's sufficient. All the karma will come to you, right? So, and here Krishna is saying, if you understand that this result doesn't belong to me and it's used in Krishna's service, or according to 12th chapter, if you do the results in some other this one, at least some punya you will get. If not, you're freed completely from the reaction of the work. At least you'll get some better results, right? So then, let's chant this. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Prajahati Yada Kaman Sarvan Pakamanogatan Atmanyevatmana Tushtaha Sthita Prajnastatochyate. So here that N, because of the font, it is coming as yes actually. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O Partha, when a man gives up all varieties of desires for sense gratification, which arise from mental concoction, and when his mind, thus purified, finds satisfaction in the self alone, then he is said to be in pure transcendental consciousness. So when we avoid the attachment, there is many other preconditions are there. So many things that are mentioned here. So one of the things that we are focusing upon is giving up the results of the action, or giving up the attachment to the results of the action. So when we do that thing, so then a pure consciousness actually evolves. All the contamination in our consciousness, it facilitates to remove the contamination from our consciousness, right? So that's a very good, this one. This is also a very important shloka. Dukkeshvanudvigna manaha Sukeshu vigatasprihaha Vitaraha bhayakrodaha Stitadid muniruchyate. One who is not disturbed in mind, even amidst the threefold miseries, or elated when there is happiness, and one who is free from attachment, fear, and anger, is called a sage of steady mind. So, giving up the attachment to the fruits can also help us to develop steadiness in the mind, right? So that's also one of the factors here. It's not an exclusive thing that is dealt with in the shloka, but that's also one of the factors. And then a person who has given up all desires for sense gratification, who lives free from desires, who has given up all sense of proprietorship and is devoid of false ego, he alone can attain real peace. If you want to be really peaceful, so then also we have to give up the attachment to the fruits of our action. So just like just to again reiterate the context that we are talking about, if you are employed in a company and then you work for a particular cause or particular project, and whatever customer pays, you have an eye on that. So customer is paying so much, my boss is giving me a little salary, right? So I have an eye on that, right? So if I have an eye on that, I will try to do something and try to get hold of that money. So then I cannot be at peace, no? So because I'm doing something wrong, so I cannot be at peace. So it has to be understood in the context, no right context. So we will see that like as we get salary, so as legitimately we work and we get salary, in the same way, we will also get the prasada. No, prasada is nothing but the mercy of the Lord in the form of salary we will get, and we should be satisfied with that. So that we will see towards the end, right? Okay. One is understood to be in full knowledge, whose every endeavor is devoid of desire for sense gratification. He is said by sages to be a worker for whom reactions of work have been burnt up by the fire of perfect knowledge. Right? So the detachment from the fruits of action has the capacity to burn the karma, that we have. Right? So this is also very good. This one. So all that we have performed. So this has the capacity to burn. So how it burns, it's not independently it's going to burn, with coupled with knowledge, right? So now knowledge and realization and advancement in the spiritual path. So one can burn the results of one's past karma. So that's also one of the benefit. And then such a man of understanding acts with mind and intelligence perfectly controlled, gives up all sense of proprietorship over his possessions, and acts only for the bare necessities of life. Thus, working, he is not affected by sinful reactions. So he is also liberated or unbound, from the sinful reactions, actually. So, in summary, now if we give up the attachment to the fruits, then what happens? Releases one from the bondage. It helps us to develop a pure consciousness. It offers us steadiness, peace of mind, and then burns the karma, when coupled with knowledge, and then it's not affected by, we will not be affected by the sin, right? So these are all some of the benefits of giving up the attachment to the fruits of our action. So now there is a very important question. So this question, many times, like whenever we present this concept, many times people ask this question. So now I've included in the slide itself. So like, if we give up attachment to the result, where does the inspiration to work comes from? How will I get the inspiration to work? All the work that I'm getting is because of the result that I'm going to achieve, right? So why does a student studies very hard? Because he wants to get good marks, right? So he thinks about the marks, and that gives him a good inspiration to study, right? So and what's the inspiration for working in the company? Tomorrow, if your boss calls and says, sorry, like I cannot pay you, like, but then I like your work very much. No, you can continue to work. So what will you say? Get lost, I'm doing all that slogging is for this only. And if you cannot pay me, like, no, I'm not in love with your work, right? So I'm not going to work for you, like, if you're not going to pay me, right? So everything is derived from this result, right? So if I should not be attached to the results of my work, I can understand that, okay, if I'm attached to the results of my work, it causes so much of pain and things like that. And if I'm detached, I'm getting so much of wonderful benefits. But then how will I work? The inspiration for work itself is gone. If I remove the attachment to the results. Do you all have any solution? How will we get inspiration to work if we are not attached to the results of our work? Necessity. Okay. What's a necessity? Huh? Food, clothes, and things like that. Again, yeah, it's attachment to the result. I want to work because I have to get my basic necessities. Right? If I work and if the basic necessities are not given, then I say like, get lost. No, I'm not going to do this work. I want to meet my basic necessities. That's why I'm working.
If we think our duties are our service to God.
Duties as service to God. Okay, that's good. That's good. Okay, just to have a good recreation and just to have a good engagement, right? So we can work. Okay, so these are all some of the this one. So now let's get into a very known shloka. Like you would have come across this shloka, and I think in the second session of Gita course you would have come across this shloka. Swadharma acharanam shaktya vidharma acha nivartanam daiva labdhena santosha atma viccharanachanam. Right. So now we see that we have to be attached to the work itself, The Vedic economy, like the modern economy says, if you want to have money, if you want to have a livelihood, so what you are supposed to do, you're supposed to study well and you're supposed to apply for a job, or you have to make your own business and become an entrepreneur or something like that. And then you earn your money, right? And then you can fulfill all the needs of your life. You know what is the Vedic economy? How does the Vedic economy functions? Hmm? So Vedic economy, the Krishna explains in the third chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So he says that like we have to perform our prescribed duties, no, in for the purpose of satisfying the Supreme Lord. And when the Lord becomes satisfied, so he actually creates, no, we get punya, and when we get punya, the material nature supplies whatever the needs are there. So in the, if you study Srimad Bhagavatam, this is one of the very big puzzling things that like Daksha, one of the great Prajapatis, he given birth to his children, and then he told his children, all of you, like, please go and do tapasya, and after doing tapasya, like, I want you to achieve all these great things. So I was thinking, like, if you have to achieve these great things, like, first you have to go and put some hard work and you have to earn some money. Or what is this? Go and do tapasya. Like, no, what are you going to get out of it? And then I saw that this phenomena is repeating again and again and again in the like Vedic this one tales that we actually read from the scriptures. So what is it all about? So then from Bhagavad Gita, actually I could able to figure out this particular thing, that when we perform, the Vedic economy is you perform an act of piety, you will get punya, and if you get punya, you will be supplied with Janma, Aishwarya, Shruta, and Shri. So Janma means good birth, Aishwarya means good beauty, and Shruta is good education, and Aishwarya is wealth actually, and Shruta is good education, and Shri is beauty, right? So these four things are resultants of the punya that you perform, right? So there are many success stories. People actually buy the success stories books, and step by step, the person who has attained the success, he's very graciously he has revealed all the steps to become a successful man, just like him. But then a person who follows it, hardly anyone becomes a success story. Actually, those who don't read the success stories, they actually make it up to become a successful person. And those people who read the success stories, they actually keep reading, and they never become actually one. So why is this whole thing? Because this person has become successful not because of the steps that he has performed. Somehow or other, he has got the punya to become that, right? So that is how he has become actually. So in the Vedic system, it was so clear. Like if you want to get something good, so do some good actions, do some charity, do some like good deeds. Like if you do that, then you will get all these things. And if you do bhakti, if you chant the names of the Lord, you read Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and you perform devotional service, or you will break all the bounds and you can go back to Vaikuntha. Right? So this is very, very clear in the Vedic this one. So in the modern day, so the shift has gone to the everything is for the money and for the results and things like that. The whole orientation goes behind the results. Even a parent actually chastises the child, saying that why are you not getting good marks? You should get good marks. No parent says that, okay, never mind, like you've got a bad mark, but have you understood the concept? No, we don't ask that. We ask that whether you understood the concept or not, you have to get a good mark. The orientation for the child right from the beginning is done in the way that result is the most important thing. If you cannot get the result, you are useless, right? So that's the whole orientation that goes in. The quality of work, the work itself is not given so much of importance, right? So in the Vedic times, it is quite a different kind of a paradigm where the work is given so much of importance. It doesn't matter what result I'm getting, I'm going to get now, right? So I am going to do some good action, so which will give me piety and which will ensure my future is going to be good. And then, like, if you do this particular thing, just for example, like there was a sage in the forest, and then there's a cow that actually went past by the sage, and then like he like there were dacoits actually chasing the cow to kill. So and then they came and asked the sage, right? So where did the cow went? So what is the sage supposed to do? He should follow dharma, right? So dharma means what? Truthful. Being truthful is dharma. Yeah, being truthful is dharma. But then there is many levels of dharma is there. So now saving a living entity is a higher dharma. So for that he is supposed to tell a lie, right? So okay. So if the this what the people say, if the dacoits say that you should tell, where did the cow went properly. If you don't tell that, then we will actually harm you, right? So then, if the sage says the right answer, the cow will be killed. If the sage says the wrong answer, he will be killed. What does the sage is supposed to do? Huh? So he has to follow the dharma. He should not see what's going to happen to him at this point in time, right? So he has to follow the dharma. So self protection is important, but not at the cost of taking the life of a cow, right? So not at the cost of gohatya. So that's a very important principle. So now we see that this, what has been applied, why he should not be worried about his current state at this point in time. So the current state is already determined by his past actions. Whether he tells a truth or a lie, if he's supposed to die, he's supposed to die. That's it. No. But then, even at the time of his greatest danger, he should perform a dharmic activity, right? So that's a very important thing. So the Vedic system actually trains a person. The most important thing is your duty. You have to perform your duty to the best of the quality, to the best of your ability, and it should be that quality of work is given a lot of importance than the result that the work would produce, right? So that's the focus that is there in the Vedic this one. The inspiration of work actually comes from the quality of work, right? So this is we are trying to follow the Vedic principles. So now we are going to just shift our focus from the results to the quality of work, right? So if we if we just shift this much, it's a great change done. And this can actually eradicate depression from the face of the earth. This can actually make people content. This can actually make people happy. So many good things can actually come just by making this shift. And right now we are seeing so many problems in the society. Bulk of the problems is because of this orientation. Many of us, we don't know why these problems actually come up. The problems that I listed down now. So it's basically because of focus on the results. The moment you focus on the results, immediately there comes comparison, right? So if you focus on the quality, so did you do the work to the best of your capacity? Yeah, I did my work to the best of my capacity. If another person, I asked, if you did the work to the best of your capacity, no, I didn't do. So please try to enhance this one. Please be satisfied by doing a good work, right? So, but then if I see the result, I saw a cartoon, a very nice cartoon. So there was a cheetah. I don't remember the cartoon exactly now. There was a rabbit, and there is a tortoise. There is a bird, and then there is a fish in the a bowl, right? And then all of them are going through the same education system, and the result is who will reach the finish line first. They are best, right? So the fish in the ball is thinking no, how will I ever go there? Right? So you cannot put a this one like that. What is that? Result or measurement criteria like that. Everybody is unique. Everybody has a different kind of a potential, and everybody has to try to bring out their potential to the best of its ability and do the best of his work, right? And not worried about the result, right? So that's a very important thing. So now, giving up attachment to the result, does it make us a loser? To some extent, we discussed it here. So I'm just going to discuss it a little more with certain other important aspects. It only enhances the result. If I give up the attachment to the result, it's going to enhance the result. Anybody can tell how it is going to be? How it's going to enhance the result if I give up the attachment to the result? We'll be more focused on the work itself, right? So if a person is thinking that what kind of a result will come, or if I get a good result, what should I do? Or if I get a bad result, what's going to happen? What will people think of me? All those things. It's essential space. That is why Taya Apahita Chetasam. So one of the slokas that we actually saw, that it actually steals away one's good intelligence. It steals away one's good consciousness. So then he cannot put his focus on the work itself, right? So if we perform our work to the best of the quality, best of its this one, So then we get good results naturally, right? So in fact, like one of my spiritual friends, like in fact one of my spiritual mentors, he actually referred a book written by a psychologist. I was quite surprised. Like we generally don't read any other books other than the spiritual books and things like that. But then he told this book is quite nice. No, he the book's name. You remember the book's name? The Holocaust. Huh? The man's search for happiness. No, and in this book there is a very nice statement that comes. Those people who run behind the happiness, search for the happiness, and make the happiness as their goal of the life, they most of the times they don't get happiness or satisfaction in the life. And those people who have a mission in life and they have a cause for which to live for, and they are actually putting all their endeavor and effort behind that cause, they will actually become happy. No, actually they're not looking for happiness, but actually those people will become happy, and not those people who run behind the happiness. They'll never become happy, right? So this is a very, very important principle that by giving up attachment to the result, we can actually put our focus on the work itself, and we end up getting better results, right? And then it enhances the quality of work, and it is we get a superior happiness, because getting the results, it's like, hey, like I got a better thing than you. No, it's like it's something that I'm getting just because I got a better result than you. And this happiness, how long it will last? Till the time I see a person who has got a result better than me, right? The moment I see a person who's got a better results than me, and like all my happiness is gone, gone for a toss. But then if I have a satisfaction that I helped this person, or I did my work to the best of my capacity, and I did a good work, right? So that satisfaction, nobody can steal away that satisfaction from you, right? So this can give you a superior happiness which cannot be stolen away from you, right? So that's a very good thing. So in fact, giving up attachment to the results of your work, you're not going to be a loser. You're only going to gain. You're only going to get better results and better quality and stuff like that. Right. So finally, what's the goal? Like just give it up. So Krishna is saying that no one can never become happy being attached to the results. In 431, he says, and then he says, unless one gives up the attachment to the results, one can never become a yogi. One can never become a spiritual practitioner, right? So it's quite difficult. This is the rock bottom thing which Krishna doesn't negotiate at all in any of the yoga systems. Now, if you see the yoga ladder or in the progression of the philosophy, the first and foremost result that a person can see when the heart is getting purified. So why are we practicing a spiritual path? So for the purification of heart, and we want to become a better person, and then we want to become a devotee of the Lord. So when the purification of heart happens, what is the first sign that we can actually see? The first sign is the detachment from the results of our work, right? So that's the first result. If you are able to see that to some extent, you can understand, oh, I have cleared the first standard of spirituality, right? So this is the first standard, the basic step of any spiritual path. You take karma yoga, you take jnana yoga, dhyana yoga, or bhakti yoga. Krishna repeats this one thing again and again and again in every single yoga system, right? So this is such an important thing. So sometimes people say, no, I've been practicing spirituality for many, many years, but I'm not seeing that transformation. So probably it's because still we are being attached to the results of our action, right? So this this is a very important principle. That's why Krishna actually repeats this quite often in Bhagavad Gita. And then if I have to give up attachment to the results, what should be my attitude towards them? What should I do with them? What should I do with these results if I'm not supposed to be attached to it? Yeah, offer these results to the Lord. So this is also a nice thing. So my attitude towards the results that come. So Krishna says, Matras Prashastukum Te Sitoshna Sukha Dukkada Agama Payano Anityas Tam Titikshvasva Bharata. Titikshvasva means like be tolerant to whatever success and failure that comes. Right? So you have already done your work in the past. So based on the good work you have done, you're going to get some good results. And based on the bad work that you have done, you're going to get some bad results as well. So, but when it comes, just tolerate, right? So you are not going to, it's not the time to change things, right? So whatever work you have done, now it's the day of payment. Now it's the day of salary. And you're going to get the salary according to the work that you have done. So please don't get irritated by some bad result or happy by some good result. It's nothing to do with the current situation. It's something, it's getting delivered, for the work that you have done in the past, right? So neither hate nor desire results. It's not that if I should not be attached to the results, so then what should I do? I should hate the results. No, oh, like the results of my work is so obnoxious, I should not be attached to it. No, we should not do like that. So we should actually have a neutral attitude. Neutral attitude, like how can you define a neutral attitude? Like for example, many of you may have dealt with small children, right? So and they play with toys, and sometimes you may have gone to somebody's home, and you may have bought out toys for some children also. And when the children are playing with the toys, will you be affected? Hey, why are you playing? Like, no, give me the toy. No, you don't get affected. At the same time, do you get irritated with the toy? No, that you throw the toy off? No, you're neutral to it. No, you don't have any attachment towards the toy, and you don't have any aversion towards the toy. The child is playing, and let him play, right? So that's the way we have to be with the results of our action. So I'm not going to be attached. I'm not going to be hating it also, right? So why? Because it belongs to somebody else. It belongs to the Lord. No, why should I have any emotions attached to it at all? So it's something that belongs to the Lord, and He will enjoy it, right? And accept whatever comes as the will of the Lord. Yadricha labha santushta. This is a very important yoga principle. Yadricha labha santushta. So whatever by the will of the Lord comes as the result, be happy. Do your work. Work is something belongs to me. I should do it to my perfection. I should do best of the work. And when the results come, whatever the Lord desires. So whatever by the will of the Lord comes, let me be happy, right? So this one principle, Yadricha labha santushta, can wipe off all the disease of depression. If people can just follow this one principle, it's a very, very big medicine, actually. So you see the Vedic culture, it did not have such cases which the modern world is producing. Why? Because of the training that the people used to go through, training that the children used to go through. So children would be told that, like I got this result, I got that result. So then the parents would say, better, like results are not very important. What did you do? What was your intention? How did you perform that action, right? So this is very important, right? So when Arjuna, like he comes back after the battle, not after the battle, after Krishna departs the world, where he comes very dejected. So the first question that Yudhishthira asks is, whether were you not able to discharge your duty, where somebody unsheltered, unprotected came to you, and you were not able to offer him protection and things like that. So right now, if somebody comes with a dejected face, we would ask kya purse chori ho gaya? Did you lose your mobile phone or purse or something like that? So if you have lost something, we will feel bad. And in the Vedic times, the inquiry was like this. It's like Yudhishthira was an elder, like he's asking. It's just like asking to your younger one that did you not perform your duty? Why are you sad? Right? So that's the standard. Actually, that's the standard of training that was there. Right? And offer the results to the Lord, else it will transform into sin or bondage and things like that. Right? So Lord is the rightful owner of our results, and it is ideal to offer the results to the Lord. So when we offer the results to the Lord, this is also an amazing thing. So when we detach ourselves from the results, and we actually offer the results in the service of the Lord, we become more and more attractive, right? So we don't need to have any external apparatus to make us attractive or external status to make us attractive. Just by doing this one thing, that understanding the results belongs to the Lord and applying it in this service, so we become more attractive. And then it gives rise to transcendental knowledge, and it gives rise to opportunity for us to understand the Lord more and more deeper. And then it is the first step in the advancement in bhakti that we discussed already. And then it's going to be a gradual eradication. So we will see, the first step means we will start to see that I am becoming detached, from the results of my action. So that's the first sign that we will be seeing, that we are advancing in any of the parts of yoga, especially in bhakti yoga. And then this seems to be deep-rooted. This attachment to the results seems to be deep-rooted. How can I give up the attachment to the results? No. The Lord is telling, by thus engaging in devotional service to the Lord, great sages or devotees free themselves from the results of work in the material world. In this way, they become free from the cycle of birth and death and attain the state beyond all miseries, that is going back to the spiritual world, right? So this is how, like, by constantly engaged in the process of devotional service that you have already been doing, chanting the names of the Lord, accepting prasadam, hearing the good messages from Gita and things like that. When we do these things constantly, the result, will become like we will get detached from the results of our action, right? And then this is the last concept. The Lord is free from attachment. We should not think that, oh, Lord is telling like you be detached from all the results of your action. But then this guy is so much attached to the results of the action. Right? So this is one of the major blocks in the advancement of our spiritual life. Right? So Krishna is telling, Namam karmani limpati name karma palaspruha. So spruha means desire or attachment. So I don't have no karma palaspruha. So I don't have any attachment to the work that I perform. Iti mam yo abhijanati karma na sa bhadyate. So one who understands that Lord doesn't get bound by his activities, so he will also get released from the bondage of the karmic reactions, right? So there is no work that affects me, nor do I aspire for the fruits of action. One who understands this truth about me also does not become entangled in fruitive reactions of work. And then janma karma cheme divyam evam yo veti tatvatah tyakva deham punarjanma naiti mamiti so Arjuna. So one who understands that Lord is beyond this dualities, Lord is not going to be caught in this karmic reactions and the cycle of things like that. In fact, he is the controller and master of all these things. He cannot be controlled by this inferior modes. So understanding this is also a very essential aspect. The Lord is not Lobi and Kami. He is a divine person. So one of the very amazing examples is after delivering the whole Bhagavad Gita course for Arjuna, what does Krishna say? So I've delivered this course. That's my job to do. I've did it. Now, if you want to follow, you follow. If you don't want to follow, it's okay. So if we were there, we will say no, I spent so much time explaining this thing to you. How dare you don't follow this, right? So, and that too, you'll say I am the supreme personality of Godhead. I am telling you, you're the recipient. And if you yourself don't follow, what will the other people say? No, this is a class given to one person and that person did not follow my teaching. It's like deposit lost. It's like a great, it's a great shame, right? So the Lord says, okay, fine, I just delivered this Bhagavad Gita in the interest of your goodness, and then if you can follow, it's good. Even if you don't follow, I will still remain your friend. I'll still keep giving you good instructions. No, I'm not very much attached whether you're going to follow this right now or not. No, I'm going to be there with you, right? So I'm going to wait upon you and I'm going to be there with you. So this is an amazing display that Krishna is actually showing, that he did a work and the result is that the student should get understanding, and Krishna is detached. You can take a choice. And if you don't, see, I'm your friend, but if you don't follow what I say, what's the value of our friendship? Let's break up here, right? So that's Krishna is not telling that. So you're my friend, whether you follow it or not. Now I have given you some advice, but whether you follow it or not, I will remain to be your friend, right? So he never snatches away our independence, right? So that's why Krishna is so attractive. That's why everybody is going towards Krishna, right? So the common people will say no, you have to follow me. If you don't follow me, you're condemned. No, you're gone. No, you're finished, right? So Krishna is no, whether you follow or not, I'm your well-wisher. No, we both are friends. Always we'll remain as friends, right? So this amazing nature of Krishna. So with this, we come to the end of today's session. I know I've taken a little bit of overtime. So still, if anybody has some questions, so you can ask. Hare Krishna. Yes, in the back, Prabhuji.
May I speak in Hindi?
हाँ बोलिए.
हरे कृष्ण.
हरे कृष्ण.
प्रभु जी, हमारे बहुत सारे स्क्रिप्चर्स में, रामचरितमानस में, श्रीमद् भागवत में बहुत सारे टेल्स हैं, बहुत सारी स्टोरीज हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, श्रीमद् भागवत महात्म्य आरंभिक जो चैप्टर हमारा है, उसमें ही आत्मदेव, गोलरी, गुलकारी की स्टोरी है. हमने श्रीमद् भागवत को अलग अलग लोगों से अलग अलग समय पे वृंदावन के लोग या दूसरी जगहों के लोग कई बार सुना है प्रवचन में। एक ने तो एडिटिव बता दिया कि जो भिखारी लास्ट में श्रीमद् भागवत हो रही थी और एक बंबू में एक बांस के अंदर में वो बैठा हुआ था। लास्ट श्रीमद् भागवत समाप्त हुई और वो बंबू बांस फट गया बहुत आवाज के साथ और उसको मुक्ति मिल गई। तो ये जैसे स्टोरी एक सेकंड एग्जाम्पल दे रहा हूँ। रामचरितमानस में नारद मोह एक चैप्टर है जिसके अंदर में नारद जी को जिस टाइम अभिमान हुआ और ये काम ने उनको रिट्रैक्ट करने की कोशिश की और वो जीत गए। नमन जी के बाद जयशंकर जी के पास निकल जाने के बाद लास्ट में विष्णु जी ने सोचा कि इनमें बहुत ज्यादा ईगो, बहुत ज्यादा एरोगेंसी, बहुत ज्यादा अभिमान है, उसको किल करने के लिए एक उन्होंने एक नगर बसाया। वहाँ का राजा शिवलिंग जी है, उसकी बेटी विष्णुमोहिनी है, वो एक स्वयंवर की रचना हुई और फाइनली जो भी हुआ नारद जी को लास्ट बता दिया, हमने ऐसे किया। ये जो स्टोरीज के अंदर कैरेक्टर्स हैं, लोकेशंस हैं, आज के टाइम पे इनको हम एज इट इज सच जो कहते हैं मान सकते हैं या नहीं। एग्जाम्पल दे रहा हूँ, अवधेशानंद जी ने जब सुनाया इस बात को तो मॉडर्न टाइम पे वो जो
मैं समझ रहा हूँ। लाइक एक क्वेश्चन जो है तो हमारा चर्चा में जो बताया है तो उस विषय के बारे में नहीं है, मैं सोच रहा हूँ। तो इसके लिए हम लोग बात कर सकते हैं, प्रसाद के टाइम पे हम लोग आराम से बात कर सकते हैं। सो अभी ये चर्चा में जो डिस्कस किए हैं उसके ऊपर अगर आपका कुछ प्रश्न है तो वो हम अभी ले सकते हैं।
तो बिल्कुल क्लियर है जो आपने बताया।
हाँ ठीक है, तो हम प्रसाद का टाइम पे हम लोग चर्चा
ओके, थैंक यू। अच्छा,
यस
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Prabhu, can you please explain like how, so we are grihasthas, most of us are grihasthas here. So we earn the money. So can you please explain how we can use that money in the service of the Lord? So we have to maintain the family also, and also we have to do the service. So can you please explain on that?
That's a nice question. So how we can use our results in the service of the Lord? So now, if we, one is that if we actually make our home, so where do we spend our money? We spend our money on the home. So when we think the home belongs to me, so then I am spending upon myself. So but when I think that if I in our congregation, many of the devotees have done this thing. So installation of the altar of the Lord, very grand way. So many of the people have the Bhagwan ka mandir, ghar pe, so like in the home. So but then when we give the position of the altar, what position we should give? The position, generally people ask what position we should keep the altar. So we generally say like whatever the position you have given for the TV, that's the best of the position. That you should give it to the Bhagavan, right? So that's the best of the position. So we don't know like what's the best position in their home, but then we can very easily conclude the best position by the way like wherever the TV is placed, that's the best position, and that you should give it to the Lord, right? So when you give such a best position, and then understand that the Lord is the master of the home, I'm just the caretaker of the home. So then, like all the family members, they are also part and parcel of the Lord. They are also devotees of the Lord. So I am taking care of them. They are children of the Lord. I'm taking care of them, and then I'm spending upon them. So that's a devotional service. And then another nice way is that inviting devotees and having some nice sankirtan at home. So it is mentioned that the place where there is nice sankirtan happens, nice chanting of the names of the Lord happens, that place actually becomes divine, right? So this is also a good way, inviting devotees and then performing sankirtan. But then one problem, devotees will eat in your home only when you start chanting a good number of rounds, right? So like, so then you can actually call devotees and then you can prepare nice prasadam and offer it to them. So this is a nice way of utilizing the money that we have got. Right? And then we can use the money for the charity purpose and good work and stuff like that, and many other things in the service of the Lord, right? So we have to use it in service of the Lord. So all aspects that are essential and needed in the life, can be dovetailed in the service of the Lord, right? Only we cannot dovetail the aspects which are like not mentioned in the scriptures. Those activities we cannot dovetail. the like in the service of the Lord. Hare Krishna. You have the mic, okay.
Hare Krishna. We spoke about offering our foods to the Lord. Uh, Given that most of the results are still gonna stay with us in the lifetime.
What is that?
Given that most of the results we achieve are gonna stay with us in our lifetime. Let's say,
Not going to stay with us.
yeah, in our lifetime,
Uh,
it is gonna stay with us.
okay.
How do we offer the foods to the Lord?
This is also one of the things that just mentioned. No, whether you offer it or not, most of it's not going to stay with you. Better offer it. It depends on which result you're talking about. You have got a fame. No, you have got a good fame, right? So you can utilize that fame. So if people come to you like because you're quite famous, you can say like, yeah, like no, this is famous because of the mercy of the Lord. No, so then you're utilizing the fame to actually glorify the Lord, right? So if you have some resources, that you have got, so you can utilize in the service of the Lord, right? So it depends like what results you're talking about.
So work related. So anything you achieve in work,
What you have achieved.
maybe something you created, something you engineered.
Okay.
How do you then offer that?
Utilize in the service of the Lord. So that must have some utilization, right? So it's previously the conception was the service to the Lord means Aarti Puja Karna hai, like and then Bhog Chadana and things like that. Now we see like service of the Lord, like anything and everything can be used in the service of the Lord. So now technology we are using it in the service of the Lord, right? So now I'm also a programmer, so I sometimes code for utilizing in the service of the Lord. So if I'm coding for somebody else, no, I don't do it anymore. So when I was working, I do. So like if I've done work for somebody else, no, in exchange to it, I've got some money. So like, okay, let me use that money in the service of the Lord, right? So if I've done something and the end result is like stays with me, then directly I can use it. If I've done something and sold it to somebody and I've got an exchange something else, well, let me use that in the service of the Lord, right? Okay.
You can hear me.
Yeah.
So this question was asked many times before also, but I just got convinced. Why does Lord sanction somebody's desire to commit horrible crimes? So the answer before it was given like he unwillingly sanctions somebody's desire if it is too strong. But why does he sanction a desire that would hurt or kill or torture some other human being?
See, this cannot happen in the spiritual world. No, harming, hurting, and things like that cannot happen in the spiritual world because, by definition, spiritual world is called Vaikuntha. A place where there is no miseries, right? So, generally, we give this example that if the father is driving the car and the small child, he says that, this is how much you do, right? Like, no, just steering ko idhar udhar hilana hai. So this much is the driving. You give it to me, like I will also drive. So then the father says, like, better, like you cannot do this thing at this point. No, here, you can. I'll take you to a theme park, right? So there, I will give you a car, right? So there you can drive, and that car will be, like bordered with a thick rubber beading, right? So and the child actually drives, and then the child drives, and then like some other kid comes and dashes this guy's, toy car, like that. What do they call? This is go-karting, right? Go-karting. So things like that. Just so go-karting. So like no, he comes and dashes, and then he comes crying to the father, "Papa, like no, maar diya." Like no, he actually like no dashed onto my car, right? So then the father says like, "Don't worry, like no, it's hota, like no, like in the play these things happen. So just be tolerant, like no, just continue the play." And sometimes the father actually chastises the other child, but don't play like this. No, don't hurt the other person, right? So, but then they're given the opportunity to play. So there is an environment. This thing cannot happen if everybody have any kind of desires and Lord has to fulfill it. That cannot happen in the spiritual world. The Lord puts this thick rubber beading on us. The soul is so minute. The soul is by the size of 1/10,000. The tip of the hair is the size of the soul. And how much is the thickness of the beading that He has put on us, right? So the Lord puts so much of covering, and then He sends. So you want to be away from me? You see that, and then you want to be away from me, and then why do you want to be away from me? Because if you're there with me, I am the master, and you have to follow everything that I say. No, you want to go away from me so that all that you desire has to be executed, and then you don't want me in the picture. Okay, I will stay behind the scene. I will not have anything to do with this world. You have taken a choice that to do whatever you want to do. I will give you the freedom. You do. But then if you create harm to another person, you will get the karma. No? Everybody who wants to be independent from the Lord's dominion, they actually come to this world, and Lord, out of the love for the living entity, he actually puts a lot of beating around the living entity and sends him here. Beware, there is so much of atrocity is going to be there. It's not because this place is bad, because everybody has come here to do whatever they want to do, right? So the Lord actually gives a space to do that with a security protection, right? So just like a father puts a child on the go-kart, same way, So the Lord puts the living entity into this world with a security protection, right? And then the living entity is not going to be affected by that. So that also, the Lord is telling that to Arjuna, that see, it's your dharma to kill these people. So you should understand, you cannot actually harm the living entity. You are only harming the body, right? So you cannot harm the living entity, and because it is dharma, you can do it. So, but if it is adharma, you are not entitled to harm another person. So even hurting a body, the body is given to him. What right you have to hurt that body, right? So you cannot hurt the body. And here, Arjuna's duty was, these people have committed a sin and they have to be punished. And at that time, Arjuna is thinking, oh, if I punish them, they'll feel pain. Hey, the living entity is not going to feel pain. No, you have to offer this punishment to this person, right? So that's something that Krishna actually mentions. So in this way, in that point, he actually clarifies the living entity cannot be harmed, by all these things. So we feel that we are hurt. We feel that somebody is hurt because they are attached to the body, and they think that they are this body, and then they think that I am hurt, but actually I am not hurt. The living entity can never be hurt, right? So Lord likes us very much. We take care of our children so much. Lord likes us all. Ham bija pratapita. The Lord is the seed-giving father of all the living entities. So he allows us to be there in the very dangerous area, but then he allows us to be there with a lot of protection. Right? So he personally stays as Paramatma, and he gives such a thick beading of the body. And even if it's an ant body, it's a very, very thick beading, so that he actually offers. And then with all security and protection and things like that. And this is another factor we should see. The Lord unwillingly sanctions somebody's wrong action. But then still the Lord stays as Paramatma. You see, you're going to do anything and everything you want to do. You're going to mess up everything. I know you're going to do all these things wrong, but I am so much affectionate to you. I will stay next to you. I'm not going to disturb you in your actions, but I'm going to stay next to you. He is going to be there as Paramatma in dog's body, in the pig's body, in the thief's body, in the everybody's body. He's going to be there as Paramatma, right? So this is the love that the Lord actually expresses. So you are anyway going to do anything and everything you want to do, but I want to be there for your protection. Right? So he ensures in many different ways, that we are protected.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Amazing answers.
No, because we think that protection at the level of body is the protection. That's why we think that protection is not offered. No, for Krishna, actual living entity, who is his actual son. Krishna loves that living entity, not the body, right? So Krishna is very much protective about that living entity. Body chala gaya to chala gaya. No, my son has to be safe, right? So he is protective in that sense. Right? It satisfies you to some extent. Okay.
It's a pleasure hearing from you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for coming here and enlightening us. And your answers and examples are so simple that even a layman can understand. Thank you so much. Prabhu, I don't understand that one thing is when we say Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam, austerities, he is the benefactor of all the austerities. So, what is the austerity about now? School, education, all these things are also austerities. So, how is the Lord benefiting out of that?
Lord is the benefactor, means he is the enjoyer of all the activities. So, if we offer it in the service of the Lord, he is the beneficiary, he accepts it, he is the enjoyer. If we offer it in the service of material nature is nothing but the servant of the Lord. So ultimately the results goes to him only through a different channel, right? So the Lord is ultimately the beneficiary. Either now sense gratification I want to do. I want to gratify my tongue, right? So who is the master of the senses? Rishikesha, the Supreme Lord. So I think that I am the master of my tongue. I'm going to enjoy, but actually Krishna is the enjoyer. So then, how do I get my enjoyment? First, Krishna enjoys, and then he makes us understand this is what the taste that you are feeling. The process of seeing. Now I'm seeing here. Now I'm able to see a white wall. How do I get this perception? So without first the Paramatma seeing, I cannot have the perception of this wall. First the Lord sees and he gives me a picture that this is what you're actually seeing, right? So that's how in every step we require the help and support of the Supreme Lord. Without that, we cannot do any action, right? So in the same way, the results also, like we think that this body is enjoying, like I am enjoying, but actually like material nature, it's supplied to the material nature, and the master of material nature is the Supreme Lord. He is the enjoyer. So willingly, if we give, he's going to enjoy and we'll get punya. Unwillingly, if we give to the material nature, no, it is going to be sin and we are going to get reactions. So finally, Lord is going to be the enjoyer of everything.
Prabhu, one more, when you said the analogy that the accountant is paying on the owner's permission. Now the scenario is like the entire place is of the owners, and the accountant is appointed by the owner, and he is paying to the other employees on the permission of the owner. Now, suppose what do the customers signify in this analogy, Prabhu? Like
they have the desire, no, they have the desire, so to get something, and then according to the work, the owner actually, sanctioned something, and the living entity has desire, and then he has performed some work. No, he performs good work, so then the Lord sanctions a good result, and then he performs a bad work, and then the Lord sanctions a bad result, right? And then after that, like if he goes to the cashier, that is material nature. So if he tries to work at this point in time, that he is trying to get some result. So it's based on whatever the Lord has sanctioned, and that is based on whatever work that I've done in the past, right? Like that.
Thank you, Prabhu.
One question, okay. Yeah. Last question.
See, we should not consider the result, right? How we can set the goal for any actions. So we should set the goal or not? We should not set the goal.
Yeah, so this is a very important thing. We set the goal based on the measurement, no criteria. So the measurement criteria is based on the result. So then we set the goal based on the result. If the measurement criteria is based on the quality of work, sometimes we can set the goal based on the quality of work. And not always it is possible. Sometimes like this passion is triggered by the result. No, like if result is not there, the passion doesn't work. So this is also a very important thing. So not that we just switch immediately, that I'm not going to be attached to the results. If I'm affected by the mode of passion, no, the language that I will understand is the results. No, I cannot simply just change it. So this is also one of the reasons why this is not given in the first level. So here in the level 2, like all of you have gone through some sessions, you have developed some level of understanding, and you have also practiced chanting and things like that. You have got some level of spiritual credits. So now we are not going to switch anything that we are learning here. No, according to our level of advancement, we are going to apply, right? So if we have gone to the level of mode of goodness, then the results, then the goal that we set and the way we function is going to be a little different. And generally we function on the level of mode of passion mostly. So there the results matter a lot, right? So still we may have the goal setting based on the results, but then we have the understanding that this is not good. No, I have to advance myself and I have to go to the mode of goodness and still more advanced. So then I can naturally be detached from the results, right? So this is going to be a state change that's going to come from the heart. It's not an external state change, that I'm going to do. It's an internal state change. By the advancement of in the path of bhakti that I'm going to do, this will be a manifestation that will come. It's not going to. I'm not going to do this thing on the external level, right? So that's the way we should look at it. So, okay, Hare Krishna. So we will pause today's session here. Thank you all very much for attentive listening and being there overtime, like almost half an hour overtime, and then asking very nice questions. I'm very very happy. Like, thank you very much for your nice audience. Hare Krishna.
You can speak up something. Okay, Srini Prabhu, Diabetic Mataji, senior special mentor, and then Krishna Gopalesh Prabhu, and then Chandra Prabhu, and then myself, and finally Deep Rai.
Okay.
All Srini Prabhu. Srini Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. So it's so we are going to introduce some of the mentors, who are going to guide you. So as this practice of Krishna consciousness in this path of spiritual life, it is a guided process. We are studying so many wonderful subjects, and we are also going to have some good guidance that has been offered. So we have some of the mentors who are going to guide you on a personal basis, right? So we have our senior mentors. Is coming still? Okay. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. You could have stopped me a little later. I could have taken one more question by the time they came. Okay. So we have Srinidhi Prabhu here. Srinidhi Gaurahari Prabhu is a senior mentor of ours. So he has done his engineering EEE, worked in Comscope. Okay. As a senior technical manager and serving as a sector leader in the structure of Bhakti Vriksha. So how do we actually mentor and nourish and nurture the people who are connected to us? So we form smaller groups called Bhakti Vriksha. So wherein now the mode of presentation that is like we do the most of the talking. So after some time, you will all be doing the most of the talking, right? So you will be discussing, you'll be engaged in the discussion and putting forth questions and arguments and discussions and things like that. So in that way, we have found that the education is taken to a next level. So when the knowledge is flowing one way, some amount of retention is there. But if the knowledge is done through a discussion, the retention is more, and then you'll also get many practical realizations, right? So in this, we actually form Bhakti Vrikshas, and then we also have somebody overseeing these Bhakti Vrikshas, like the quality of the teaching that is happening and things like that. So now Srinidhi Prabhu functions in that particular role. He's a sector leader in ISKCON Bhakti Center Panathur, and practicing Krishna consciousness since 18 years, and he is also undergoing Bhakti Shastri course. So let's and Srinidhi Prabhu and Dayavati Mataji, his good wife. So both of them are wonderful, wonderful devotees, and you're very fortunate to have such nice, wonderful devotees who are willing to shell out a lot of time for the welfare of all of us, right? So let's garland them. So then, okay, Dayavati Mataji's introduction is also there. So then a bachelor's in corporate secretaryship, and then she's a housewife is a small thing, like she handles so many problems of so many devotees and gives so wonderful guidance. She's also serving as an assistant to Prabhuji, as a nice sector leader, and she's practicing Krishna consciousness since 25 years. She's very senior devotee. And then we have Krishna Gopalesh Prabhu. And his good wife. So Krishna Gopalesh Prabhu he studied BE Electronics in BITS Pilani in 2001 pass out, and I'm also BITS Pilani 2004 pass out. So introduced to Krishna consciousness in which days, and working now in Cisco as technical leader with a total of 20 years of experience, handling Bhaktiviksha leader responsibility, for the last 4 years, and completed one successful batch. And Sri Shahar Mataji is also very good wife, assisting Prabhuji in all ways nicely. So both of them are serving as Bhaktiviksha leaders, so they are also going to be your mentors for some of you. And then we have Sanathan Suresh Prabhu. So he has done his BTech graduate and working as senior engineer. And then Mataji, Divya Prema Mataji. So she is also a BTech graduate and working as senior engineer in a software company. Right. So they have two nice kids. One is 9 years old, one is 7 years old, and they are amazing. They have been practicing Krishna consciousness since last 3.5 years, and they have been a very, very nice devotees. And we would like some of you also to see in these roles in the coming future. So they are very nice devotees. They are also shelling out a lot of their valuable time, just for guiding and helping people. Hare Krishna. Okay, then we have Balavan Balaji Prabhu, your Gita course mentor, and then he did his BE in electronics and communication and working as a scientist in ISRO since last 12 years. And his good wife Indumukhi Mataji, she is an ME in microelectronics. Yeah, she has done much more than Prabhuji. Had worked in Intel for 10 years, and she is also doing a lot of full-time service. She's helping us in so many activities in ISKCON, and she has completed Bhakti Shastri, and they are also guiding many families here. So they are also practicing since last 4 years Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna. So you see, like Gita course mentors, some of us who have been there in this one, like it takes some time for preparation. And Prabhu used to say, this is the first time he has mentored Gita course, and he did significantly well. And then throughout the week, every single day, he used to prepare. If this kind of question comes, how should I answer? If this, he goes with the most benefited person of this Gita course is he. He understood many of the concepts very well. Right. So, but then I just want to highlight the quantum of time that they are actually giving out, for spreading this message. So many people have this good intention that this Gita's message should be spread, but what it takes to spread this message, lots and lots of time, that's given out selflessly for the benefit of others, right? So, we have to be very, very grateful to them. So then Deepak Raipudi Prabhu, so he has done his PGT BM in HR, and so from IBA, and then he has done his PG in digital marketing and communication and from MICA, and works as a digital sales specialist in cloud adoption solutions, SAP India, and he's having a 17 years experience. And Janavi Mataji, she's also an MCA, and she is doing very wonderful service for ISKCON in many different areas. And they have two nice daughters. Sorry, a daughter called Shruti, and whole the family is practicing very nicely the Krishna consciousness, and they are also taking out lots and lots of time for helping all of you as mentors. So going forward, so all of you will be assigned one of these mentors, and they will personally guide you in the group discussions, and then in many of the other aspects, they will actually be guiding you in the spiritual practices. Hare Krishna. Balavan, please.
Hare Krishna. So we exceeded time, but I would like to take more than, will not take more than another 10 minutes, then we'll go for Arati. So next Sunday onwards, level 2 Gita course starts. So I'll be the one. So we look